Hey guys, tonight let me take you back in time, far away from the comfort of your warm bed, and place you in the shoes of someone most people hardly remember. A servant, arriving at the gates of a medieval castle. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a cobblestone road, the sky gray above you, the air damp with mist, and your body carrying the weight of a small bundle of possessions, perhaps only a spare shirt, a worn pair of shoes, and a thin blanket. You have been sent here by your family, or perhaps you came on your own, searching for work, food, or some small chance at survival. The gates rise before you. Enormous wooden doors banded with iron, guarded by men in chainmail who barely look at you. To them, you are one of many. A servant is nothing special, just another pair of hands to fetch, carry, scrub, or obey. Yet for you, this moment feels heavy. You know that once you step inside, your life will no longer be your own. As you shuffle forward, the sound of your shoes echoes faintly on the stones. Inside the walls, you hear the clatter of hooves, the chatter of people, and the constant hammering of blacksmiths. The castle is alive, a world unto itself, and you will now be part of its endless rhythm. The steward meets you at the entrance. His face is stern, his voice sharp as he asks your name and where you came from. You bow your head, answer quickly, and keep your eyes low, for you have already learned that servants must not meet the gaze of their betters. He notes your presence in a ledger, then waves you forward. There is no welcome, no warmth, just duty. You are shown to the servants' quarters, a dark, cramped chamber at the base of one of the castle towers. The air is musty, carrying the scent of straw and sweat. For dozens of others sleep here too. Beds are nothing more than piles of straw, sometimes shared, often infested with fleas. You find a corner, place your bundle down, and realize this will be your new home. The walls are cold, the light dim, and the noise of footsteps and whispers fills the space. But there is no time to rest. Almost immediately, you are called to work. A boy only slightly older than you, already hardened by years of labor, points to a broom and orders you to sweep. Dust and dirt collect quickly in a castle, tracked in by horses, soldiers, and guests. The floor is never truly clean, yet you bend down and begin sweeping, your arms already aching from the unfamiliar strain. The hours pass without pause. You carry buckets of water from the well to the kitchen, slipping on the damp stones, splashing your hands with icy water. You chop wood until your palms blister. You scrub pots so large you can nearly climb inside them. And all the while, you are spoken to sharply, as if you were invisible except when you fail. Still, you cling to small thoughts, that this work might earn you food, a little security, perhaps a place in the castle that is safer than life outside its walls. You remember the stories told in your village of nights and feasts, of music and banners flying in the wind. Yet here you see none of that glory. You see only the back-breaking effort that makes it possible. At mealtime, you eat quickly, sitting on a rough bench with the other servants. The food is plain. Bread that is often stale, thin soup with floating bits of vegetables, sometimes a scrap of meat if you are lucky. You eat in silence, aware that the real feast happens elsewhere. In the great hall, where nobles dine on roasted birds, spiced wine, and endless platters. You will see that world soon enough, but never as a guest, always as the invisible hand carrying plates and pouring drinks. Night comes, and you return to your straw bed. The air is colder now, a draft creeping through the cracks in the stone walls. Around you, others cough, shift, or snore. Some mutter in their sleep. The straw prickles your skin, and fleas bite at your ankles. You pull your thin blanket tightly around you. Close your eyes and listen to the muffled sounds of the castle above. Footsteps, laughter, a dog barking, the creak of doors. Lying there, you wonder what tomorrow will bring. You already know it will not be easier, yet you also know there is no choice. You are bound here now, caught in a life of service that is as endless as the stones of the castle itself. And so, with your body weary and your mind restless, you drift slowly into uneasy sleep, beginning the long journey of days and nights that stretch ahead. The morning bell rings long before the sun has climbed high above the castle towers. You wake from your restless sleep, stiff and cold, your straw bedding tangled beneath you. Already the steward's voice can be heard, echoing through the servants' quarters, barking orders. There is no gentle awakening here, no soft moment of rest. Every day begins with the certainty that you belong to someone else's schedule, someone else's demands. You rise quickly, for hesitation earns scolding. Your feet touch the cold stone floor, and you shiver as you pull on the same rough tunic as yesterday. There is no luxury of fresh clothes. You must work with what you have, worn fabric that scratches against your skin. You tie your belt, splash a little water on your face from the communal basin, and rush into the corridor. The castle is already stirring. Chickens cluck in the courtyard. Soldiers sharpen swords, and maids scurry with baskets of linens. Yet, above all these sounds is the ever-present weight of the household. The Lord, his lady, their children, and their honored guests. Every action, every movement within the castle exists to serve their needs. You are here not for yourself, not even for your fellow servants, but to uphold the comfort and prestige of those who sit high at the top of this stone world. You learn quickly that the Lord's word is law. If he calls, you must appear. If he gestures, you must obey before he even speaks. His meals must arrive steaming and perfectly arranged. His boots must shine without a speck of mud. His chambers must smell sweet, though the rest of the castle reeks of smoke and sweat. The smallest detail, if neglected, can bring swift punishment. His lady is no less demanding. She expects gowns laid out at the right moment, laces tied just so, jewels polished to gleam in the torchlight. Her moods shift like the wind. A careless word or clumsy hand can bring you sharp rebuke, or worse, dismissal. In her presence, you keep your eyes lowered, your voice soft, your body ready to move at the slightest signal. Their children, though young, have already learned the habits of command. They order you to fetch their toys, hold their cloaks, chase away the dogs, or bring sweets from the kitchens. If you hesitate, they complain to their mother, and you know what follows. Even from the mouths of children, an order carries the weight of authority. And then there are the guests, traveling nobles, priests, knights, and merchants, all of whom expect to be treated with equal care. When a visitor arrives, the entire household shifts into heightened motion. The Lord's reputation rests not only on his warriors, but also on the smoothness of his hospitality. Servants like you are the unseen machinery that makes it all appear effortless. You polish the tables until they shine, carry water for bathing, prepare feather beds for sleeping. You bow when spoken to, disappear when not needed, and endure their glances as if you are nothing more than part of the furniture. It is here, in these daily acts, that you begin to realize the truth. Your life is no longer measured by your own needs. Instead, it is measured by theirs. Your hunger waits until they have eaten. Your exhaustion waits until they have slept. Your comfort is nothing compared to theirs. If the lady wishes her chamber warmed, you must haul logs through the corridors. If the Lord craves venison, you must clean the dripping carcass when the hunt returns. If a guest wishes for music, you fetch the musicians and keep their cups filled with wine until their laughter fills the hall. Sometimes you glimpse them at ease, laughing over a game of dice or strolling in the garden, their fine clothing flowing in the breeze. You, however, are always just beyond the edge of their circle, silent and watchful. They may not even notice your presence, yet without you, without the countless invisible hands of servants, their lives of ease would crumble. Still, there are moments when you allow yourself to wonder what it might be, like to stand in their place, to wear the silks instead of carrying them, to sit at the table instead of serving it. These thoughts you keep hidden deep within, for envy is dangerous. A servant's strength lies not in dreaming, but in enduring. By the time the sun sets, you feel as though your very body has been stretched thin by duty. And yet, the household's demands do not end with the daylight. Torches must be lit. Chambers must be prepared for sleep. Boots must be placed carefully by the bed. You move quietly through the halls, careful not to disturb those who rest in luxury, even as your own body aches for the same. When at last you return to your corner in the servants' quarters, you lie down, knowing the cycle will repeat tomorrow and the day after, and every day until your back bends and your hands grow rough. The Lord's household is endless, and so too is your service. The castle walls rise tall around you, holding not only the family within, but also you, their servant, bound as tightly as stone to mortar. And so, as you drift into uneasy rest, the truth settles in your mind. Here, in this castle, you exist not as yourself, but as an extension of others' will. Your life is a thread woven into their tapestry, and you may never be seen, even as you hold it all together. The first thing you notice, once you begin your days in the castle, is how dirt never seems to leave. No matter how much you scrub, no matter how often you sweep, it returns as if the stones themselves are breeding it. You rise at dawn, and your hands already ache, for a servant's life is filled with unending cleaning. You begin in the corridors, where soldiers have tracked in mud from the training yard. Their boots are caked, their spurs dragging grit along the floors. Your broom scratches across the stone, but the dust never truly goes away. It clings in corners. It floats in the torchlight. It settles back down the moment you finish. The smell of damp earth lingers, mixing with smoke from the kitchens and the sweat of passing bodies. Then come the chambers. The Lord's rooms must shine, polished until they reflect the flicker of the fire. You carry basins of water up endless staircases, your shoulders straining with the weight. Kneeling on the floor, you scrub with rags until your knuckles are raw, your fingernails blackened. Wax must be rubbed into wooden chests and tables. Curtains must be shaken free of dust. Bedding must be beaten and turned. Even when you are exhausted, the steward inspects your work with sharp eyes, running a finger along the surface to check for dust. If he finds it, you must do it again. The kitchens are no relief. Grease clings to every surface, splattering from roasting spits, dripping from pans, coating the walls in a sticky film. You scrub with coarse sand and ash, scraping at blackened pots until your arms burn. Sometimes, it feels as though the soot has stained your very skin, working its way into the cracks of your hands where it never fully comes out. The cooks shout for more water, more firewood, more clean plates, and you hurry to obey, knowing a delay will bring a slap or worse. The latrines are perhaps the worst of all. A servant's duty is not clean or noble. When chamber pots overflow, it is your hands that must carry them away. The stench clings to you long after, no matter how often you wash. And yet you do not complain, for complaint only earns punishment. Day by day, the rhythm of cleaning takes over your life. You begin to lose track of time. Each morning brings the same endless cycle. Sweep, Scrub, polish, carry, repeat. Your body bends under the weight of repetition. You know that if you vanished, another servant would take your place, and the work would continue unchanged, for the castle's hunger for cleanliness is eternal. Yet, in rare quiet moments, you pause and notice small details others overlook. The patterns in the stone floor revealed after you scrub away the grime. The way firelight gleams on a polished table, reflecting like gold. The silence of the corridors once they have been swept, a fleeting calm before boots scuff the dust again. These moments do not bring joy exactly, but they bring a kind of stillness, a brief reminder that your labor, invisible as it is, does shape the world around you. Still, by nightfall, your hands are blistered, your back hunched, your body so weary that even sleep cannot fully soothe you. The dirt will return tomorrow as it always does. The grease will cling, the dust will settle, the stone will demand to be scrubbed again. And so you realize that in a castle, there is no end to cleaning. It is not a task to be finished, but a burden you must carry forever, as endless as the march of days themselves. As you lie down again on your straw bed, the smell of soap and soot still clinging to your skin, you know tomorrow will bring the same cycle. The castle is a living beast, and you are among the many who feed it with your endless scrubbing, polishing, and sweeping. Your work vanishes as soon as it is done, and yet it is demanded again and again, a silent reminder that a servant's life is never truly his own. The castle may look mighty from the outside, its walls tall and strong against the world, but inside, you quickly learn another truth. Stone is a poor companion in winter. The very walls that keep enemies away also steal away warmth. They hold in the cold like a great cavern, echoing every draft, swallowing every bit of heat. When the seasons shift and the first chill creeps into the air, you notice it at once in your bones. The corridors, already dim and damp, now carry icy drafts that snake around your ankles as you hurry with your chores. Every step feels like walking through shadows made of frost. Your breath lingers in front of you in pale clouds, even indoors. The Lord and his family are prepared, of course. Their chambers are warmed with roaring fires. Heavy furs line their beds, and thick tapestries cover the walls, keeping the drafts at bay. But for you, and for the others who share the servants' quarters, there is little comfort. At night, when the day's endless labor has finally drained the strength from your body, you retreat to your straw bed. You pull the thin blanket tight around yourself, but it feels no thicker than paper. The straw beneath you grows cold as the night deepens, prickling your skin with every shift. Around you, other servants shiver, curling into themselves for warmth. Some try to huddle together, but space is tight, and the cold seeps in no matter what you do. The drafts never rest. They creep through cracks in the stone, whistle beneath the heavy doors, slip down the staircases like invisible hands. Sometimes, as you lie awake, you feel as though the wind itself is alive, teasing you, reminding you that comfort is meant for others, not for you. During the day, the chill follows you still. Your hands stiffen as you scrub cold water into the floors, your fingers red and raw. Carrying buckets becomes harder when your arms tremble from the cold, even near the kitchens, where fire roars constantly. The warmth never seems to last. The heat burns your skin one moment, only to leave you shivering the next as you step back into the stone corridors. Illness spreads easily in such conditions. Servants cough through the nights, their breath rattling in the cold air. Once sickness takes hold, it lingers, for there is no medicine, no rest long enough to heal. Still, the steward expects you to rise, to work, to sweep, to carry, as though fever and chills are nothing but excuses. The Lord's boots must shine. The ladies' gowns must be clean, regardless of how numb your hands feel. On some nights, you lie awake listening to the faint crackle of fires far above. In chambers where you will never sleep, you imagine the weight of a fur blanket, the warmth of a real bed, the softness of a pillow. But imagination cannot hold off the cold. The stone presses against you, the blanket clings uselessly, and the drafts weave themselves around your body until sleep is no longer rest, but a kind of frozen surrender. And yet, like every misery of service, you endure it. Your body adjusts, though never fully. You learn to curl tightly, to tuck your chin to your chest, to breathe slowly so your breath warms the air around your face. You learn that morning will always come, even after the longest, coldest night. But you also know that the winter is long, and the walls of the castle will not grow kind. Here, within these mighty fortifications, warmth belongs only to those of rank. For the rest, for you. The castle is a cavern of drafts, where thin blankets offer little more than the illusion of comfort, and survival depends on endurance alone. The castle kitchen is a world of its own, separate from the silence of the corridors and the grandeur of the Lord's Hall. Here, the air itself feels heavy, thick with smoke, steam, and the sharp scents of meat and spice. The moment you step inside, you are swallowed by noise and heat. The crackle of firewood, the clang of iron pots, the hiss of fat dripping onto open flames. It is a place that never rests. From before sunrise until long after midnight, the kitchen roars with constant motion. Servants like you scurry between fires, hauling buckets of water, grinding grain, plucking chickens, and chopping vegetables. The cooks, fierce and demanding, bellow orders over the roar of the hearth. Their tempers flare easily, for they too are under pressure. The Lord expects feasts to appear flawless. Guests expect delicacies without delay, and soldiers demand hearty meals before training. Failure is unthinkable. Your duties are endless. Some days you are set to chopping vegetables until your hands blister, your back aching from leaning over the wooden table. Other days you are ordered to turn the great roasting spit, pushing it round and round until your arms grow numb, the fat hissing as it drips into the flames. The heat from the fire singes your face, burns your skin, and leaves your clothes soaked with sweat. Yet you cannot stop, for the meat must be roasted evenly, perfectly, or the steward's anger will fall on you. The floor is slick with grease and spills, and more than once you stumble, catching yourself before you fall into the fire. The smoke stings your eyes until they water, and still you continue, half blind, your throat raw from breathing it in. You fetch water from the well again and again, carrying heavy buckets that slosh against your legs, soaking your shoes. The steam rises around you, wrapping your body in damp heat, until you feel you are boiling as much as the pots themselves. Meals for the Lord's family demand refinement. Pies stuffed with spiced meats, fish coated in herbs, sweet custards made with precious sugar and honey. But for the servants, the scraps are your share. Bones sucked clean, crusts of bread gone stale, broth thin enough to show the bottom of the bowl. Sometimes, when no one is watching, you sneak a small bite from a platter before it leaves the kitchen, knowing it could earn you a beating if discovered. Hunger often outweighs fear. And yet, despite the misery, the kitchen carries its own strange rhythm. The pounding of pestles, the clatter of knives, the rush of feet, the constant roar of fire. It all blends into a kind of rough music. You move as part of it, your body adjusting to the rhythm until you no longer think. You only do. Chop, stir, fetch, carry, sweat, repeat. Hours slip away in the haze of smoke and heat. By evening, when banquets are prepared, the pace becomes frantic. Platters of roasted meats, baskets of bread, jugs of ale and wine, all must be carried swiftly to the great hall. You steady the heavy trays, praying not to stumble, for spilling a dish meant for the Lord is a disaster beyond words. You watch nobles laugh and feast, their hands tearing into the food you helped prepare, while you remain invisible in the shadows, carrying, fetching, obeying. When the feast ends, your work does not. Mountains of dirty platters return to the kitchen. You scrape grease from trenchers, scrub pots blackened from fire, and sweep bones and crumbs from the floor. The fires die down slowly, but the heat lingers in your skin. By the time you leave, the night is deep and cold, and stepping outside feels like plunging into icy water after hours in a furnace. You collapse on your straw bed with your body still burning, your hair smelling of smoke, your arms trembling from the day's labor. The kitchen will roar to life again before the dawn, and so will you. For a servant in the castle, there is no escape from its heat, its noise, its endless hunger for labor. And so, in the strange rhythm of fire and sweat, you find another truth of service. Even in warmth, there is no comfort, only work, unending until the body gives out.